Hola amigos, Red Pill Biker here. I want to start this video by saying thanks. I want to say thanks to a whole bunch of new subscribers. When I started this whole channel, it was just to put out some things I've learned and hopefully somebody'd stumble across it, and people are. And it's cool to link up with men who have been in my position, who are men who are trying not to have been in my position, people who are healing from past abuses and relationships. It's pretty cool. And I'm a bit of a Luddite, which just means I'm not a technological expert by any stretch. So it always amazes me when stuff like this happens. I'll tell you something else that's pretty cool. I'm getting comments from people like in Australia, hey dude. Comments from a guy in Poland, hey dude. The UK, a few other places, and to a guy from a landlocked state like Oklahoma. The world seems way out there, and it is, but it's just cool to sit there and look down and go, wow, a guy from the other side of the world watched my video and commented, and we had a little dialogue. I don't know. I mean, to me, that's kind of cool. Anyway, here's the point of the video. Last video I made, I referred to the 12-step program, and it was a little tongue-in-cheek, and it was meant to be tongue-in-cheek, and it certainly wasn't meant to be offensive, and nobody seemed to take offense for those who are working these 12 steps. But I think it fits into what we do a little bit more than we might want to admit, because the whole relationship thing, the falling in love thing, the reason it's so painful when it ends, whether we walk away from it or whether they walk away from us, is because our brains just become full of norepinephrine and dopamine and serotonin and oxytocin. I mean, it's just this chemical compound that just floods our minds and our bodies, and it makes us feel wonderful. That's why love bombing works, by the way. And it's very difficult to give that up because it's intoxicating. It is literally like an addiction. And so I think maybe looking at these programs that help us overcome addictions, while it may be a little bit humorous on my part, there's some reality to it. So I hadn't really looked into the 12 steps that much, not in a long time anyway. I've read through their big book and stuff like that because I seek out wisdom from anywhere I can. And it's a book full of wisdom. But the first step is it says we admit we are powerless over alcohol and that our lives have become unmanageable. Okay, take out the word alcohol and let's place into it pretty much anything else. We admit that we're powerless over other opinions of us, people's opinions of who we are. We're powerless over the direction that the society has taken, the circumstances in which we find ourselves in as men in this world. And we're powerless over other people's thoughts and actions. We're powerless over these things that are going on. Now, some people would say, well, yeah, we can get involved in politics and we can go vote. And while that is very true, we can certainly go vote. What do we have? We have a choice between a turd sandwich and a pile of crap. Those are our options when we go to vote. And I don't really care what country you're in. Those seem to be our options. But one of the things that we really find ourselves to be very powerless over, and we as men hate to admit powerlessness, but we are powerless over women in the unnatural course they have decided to take with their lives. We have no power over the unnatural course of this entire segment of the female population who literally hate men and blame us for everything and are incapable of self-reflection and asking themselves, I wonder if we're playing a role in any of this. We're powerless over that. We're powerless over the unnaturalness of, I got these little TikTok videos that pop up on YouTube. I never signed up for TikTok, but there are these little videos, and almost every one of them are some woman in a yoga pose, some woman in it scantily dressed, some woman jumping around and acting like a stripper. And I think to myself, these are the women who think that they're just the normal ones that are going to grow up to be moms and wives and grandmas one day. And you know what? What they've really done is they've diminished themselves down to being basically hookers and strippers. And while I've never seen my fans page, I guess is what it's called, I guess they're doing the same thing on that. So we're powerless over this stuff. And it's very unnatural what's happening. Marcus Aurelius said, when human nature rebels against Mother Nature, humanity has become a cancer on Earth. And I'm telling you guys, relationships these days, women these days, it's a very unnatural situation. So many single moms, unnatural situation. And when we see something as unnatural, we have to acknowledge the fact that it's carcinogenic, it's a cancer, and we as men have to move away from it. And that's what I encourage people to do. Admit that you're powerless over these things, and that if you get involved in these things, your life will become unmanageable. So what do? Another Stoic saying. If you make peace with all things beyond your power, refusing to fight them, you will become invincible. We look at these things and we say, you know what? That's outside my control. That is outside my power. It's kind of like walking into a biker bar and you see a giant guy standing there who you know can whoop your ass. And he wants to pick shit with you. Oh, you can be prideful and take a beating if you want to. My advice, turn around and get the hell out of there. There's a million bars in town. Okay? There's no need to take a beating. And the beating that we men have taken is beyond belief. We've lost our resources. We've lost our ability to earn more resources in many instances. Our jobs have been taken away from us, and we are treated like crap. The only thing they look at us as is tools. Hey, we need to send some people overseas to get killed. Let's get a bunch of men to do it. Hey, we need some people to climb up to the top of that tree and cut it down. Maybe they'll fall, maybe they won't. But let's get men to do it. Hey, we need somebody to go on those high power lines and mess around up there. Guess what? Men go and do it. And we're fine for that because we're disposable tools, which I've talked about in the past. So what if we just refuse to fight? What if we just refuse not to become involved anymore? Look, I'm not saying don't have relationships. My whole point of this is saying these things. Do not get married. Do not cohabitate. If you want to be involved with somebody, you make sure they have their own house, their own place to live, and their own money. And you make sure that you have your own place to live, your own money, and you keep those two as separate as possible. You don't intertwine it, because that is something that is outside your power, and they will take that shit away from you. And now I will return to Marcus Aurelius again. And he states, don't waste the rest of your life worrying about what others think and do. Direct your thoughts to a useful end. What is that useful end? Whatever you decide the useful end is to be. We are the useful end. Our lives are the useful end. Learning to navigate life is a useful end, and trying to maintain our own sanity, our own well-being, our own health. These are useful ends. When you dissipate your mental energies on things you can't control, you lose the opportunity to accomplish something for yourself. Cease all useless thoughts, fretting about others. What is she doing? What is she thinking? What is she planning? Keeps you from exercising your own power. Gentlemen, here's what I got to say. We do have the ability to exercise our own power. What do we have power over? We have power over our thoughts. We have power over our actions. We have power over our perceptions. We have power over our speech. And these are the things I'm saying we need to focus on. In other words, ourselves, our own lives, and doing what will bring us the largest amount of peace and tranquility. Just one man's opinion. As the Stoics also say, it's all just opinion. But I think it's a pretty damn good opinion. Gentlemen, life is hard. Don't make it any harder than it needs to be. Keep it real, and adios.